Welcome back to Ask Dr. Clarke. If you have a question about a marital crisis, I have an answer. After 35 years of clinical practice, I should have an answer. I've seen just about every possible marital crisis. So email me your question if you want me to answer it in one of these videos. I'll be happy to do that. Email it to me directly, David E. Clarke, PhD at gmail.com. I don't have other people screen my emails. They come directly to me. I read every one. David E. Clarke, Clarke with an E, David E. Clarke, PhD at gmail.com. Now, today's question is from a husband who sinned seriously. I mean, blew it. I think in his case, it was sexual sin, but it could be any form of other sin, financial irresponsibility, drug, alcohol use, abuse, whatever it might be. He blew it. Never meeting a woman's needs, pornography, whatever. I think his was in the sexual addiction category, but he sinned seriously and his wife has filed divorce. She's done. She's had it. And frankly, you can't blame her. And he acknowledges that. She has every biblical right to divorce him. But he, as he should, is desperately trying to save his marriage. I wrote a book for him, and if you're in that category, I destroyed my marriage. How to win your spouse back. Because it can still be done if you follow the right steps, even though you know you've blown it, broken her heart, ripped her guts out, or vice versa, if the lady has done this. Now, before I read his question and answer it, which I'm going to do, keep in mind, you can help us save more marriages. And that's what we're trying to do here by subscribing to my YouTube channel, tapping the like button, and leaving a rating and a review. That will help us grow our audience and have more impact. And if you've listened to my podcast at all and these videos, you know that the advice you're getting from me is not the traditional, typical Christian counselor advice. It's not. It's edgy, it's direct, I believe it's solidly biblical. It is outside the box of the Christian mainstream. I don't care because it works and God has blessed us over the years. Okay, here's this husband's question. I messed up terribly. And this was in his case I won't go into details in the sexual area. And my wife is divorcing me. It's all my fault. I acknowledge that. I will do anything to save my marriage. He's got it now. He's repentant. He wants her back. My counselor, here's where we go off track. My counselor, he says, is recommending I spend as much time as I can with my wife so I can show her my changes. It's a classic mistake. He says, is this right? We already know. I'm saying it's wrong. It is absolutely wrong. It's a common piece of advice from Christian counselors who don't know any better, and it's a disaster in this scenario. Now, before a wife is done and she's filed divorce on you, she would love you to spend time with her, and you should. We're past that point. Once we have divorce on the table, it's the exact wrong thing to do. She's done. When a woman files, when she says she's done with you, she's not kidding. She's done. We have to now make her undone over a period of weeks and months. Now, I'm going to cover this is one mistake. I'm going to cover 3 mistakes you can't afford to make when you have destroyed your marriage. Your spouse has a biblical reason to divorce you and is divorcing you. Okay, if you can avoid these mistakes, you've got a shot to save your marriage. Now, these top 3 mistakes, and in fact, more mistakes than these top 3, are in my book, I Destroyed My Marriage, How to Win Your Spouse Back. Along with my entire strategy. Of course, I've got a whole strategy in this book about how to win your spouse back. And frankly, motivate your spouse to want to go to marriage counseling. Okay, let's cover these top 3 mistakes. And if you want the whole strategy, and you may know someone who's in this situation, who's desperate, is there any kind of a plan? I know of no other plan like this plan. Of course, it's my plan to save a marriage when you're in this situation. Okay, let's cover these mistakes. Mistake number 1, don't spend time with her or time as a family. Do not do it. She is divorcing you. Whether you are separated or not at this point, time alone with your wife is a mistake. Also, time with her and the kids is a mistake. Doesn't seem like it's a mistake. It is a mistake. I don't care if she asks for couple or family time, and she might. See, what they'll do, this is the wife. I'm divorcing you. I have every right to, but I want this to go easy on the kids. I want to let you down gently. And so let's have all kinds of time together. It doesn't mean she's going to be drawn back to you. She's done with you. It just means that this is going to go more smoothly. That's not what you want. When you spend time with a spouse who is divorcing you, with or without your kids, there are only 2 possible outcomes, and both are bad. The first outcome is that something will go wrong and upset your spouse. Always the chance of that since he resents you. These days, it won't take much. She'll get furious and think, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm divorcing you. You don't want that. The second outcome, which I just covered briefly a moment ago, is even worse. And that's that everything will go well. We're getting along. We were able to share a meal. We had the kids in the front yard. We went to Disneyland, whatever it is, or the park. This will not make her think that maybe she shouldn't divorce you. See, that's where the thinking is wrong of the Christian counselor here. Well, if you're getting along with her and she realizes that, hey, things are better, she won't divorce you. Exactly the opposite is the case. She'll think, see, divorce is no big deal. I'm still divorcing you. Divorce is no big deal. We're all getting along great, and we'll get along great after the divorce too. You don't want her thinking that. That's what she's going to think. I urge actually, no time together as a couple or as a family. Hold to this boundary until your spouse suspends the divorce and is sincerely willing to work on the marriage. Unless out of her mouth comes, I'm suspending the divorce. I realize that you've repented over these period of months, and I am willing to go all in on the marriage counseling. Okay, at that point, then time together makes sense. Before that point, it doesn't. No meals together at home or in a restaurant. No dates with your spouse. No family activities at all. I wouldn't stand by your spouse in the front yard while your kids are playing. You pick them up. If you're separated, you pick them up. You don't go in your home. It's a violation. I don't care if she invites you in. Hey, we're all getting along. This is your home too. No, you respectfully say, no, I'm picking up the kids and I'm taking them somewhere else. All birthdays are separate. All holidays are separate. That's divorce. You see, we're also subtly kind of giving the message, this, you want divorce, this is what divorce is, without shoving it down her throat, the one who wants the divorce, this is what it's going to be. Do you like this? Maybe she won't. Let's hope she doesn't. Don't sit with her in church. You're going to be leaving your church anyway. More on that, of course, you'll find in the book. Don't sit with her anywhere. Don't ride with her in a car. No private conversations with your spouse. Only talk via text, email, or phone about the kids, schedules, money, and emergencies, nothing else. Everything is separate. That's divorce. Now, mistake number 2. Don't talk to her family and friends. It is a classic mistake made by many, and even some counselors will recommend this. Hey, try to get some other people on your team and have them reach out to her. No, far too soon for that. We're not confronting her sin yet. That may come later. In fact, she's not sinning by divorcing you, so we're not even going to do that in this scenario. There'll be some reaching out as part of my plan in I Destroyed My Marriage, but not at this stage. Here's the distorted thinking that causes this mistake of talking to her family and friends. I'll talk to those closest to her and ask them to talk her out of the divorce, to give me another chance. She won't listen to me, but she will listen to them. Also, maybe they will tell me how she feels and what's going on in her mind. I can get some information about her. Bad, bad, bad. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Who do you think her family and close friends will side with in this crisis? You? Never. Her. Always her. Blood goes with blood. Friends will also side with her. They hate you because you hurt someone they dearly love. They have nothing to do with you. Your conversations with her family and friends will make you look like a pathetic spouse attempting to control and manipulate to win their support, which is what you are doing if you talk to them. Even if you don't mean that, that's exactly how it will be interpreted. When your conversations with them are over, who's the first person they call? Your spouse who's divorcing you. Bad news. You will look bad. You'll look pathetic, you'll look controlling, you look like a manipulator. And that's exactly what you are, frankly, if you take this approach. Don't talk to her family members. Don't talk to her close friends. Don't talk to her neighbors. Don't talk to her pastor. Don't. If you say anything to her inner circle, those that are close to her, it should be, you know what? I'm wrong. I want you to know just one time here, I'm wrong. I'm at fault. I have made all the mistakes. I don't blame her for divorcing me. I'm going to do all I can to win her back, but I am guilty. I want you to know that. Boom. Now, if that message is communicated, that might actually help you. Nothing more than that. Don't, please, would you help me? Would you talk to her? Would you pray about this? Nothing like that, because that backfires every time. Finally, number 3. Don't pursue her. Classic mistake. Not in this scenario when she's divorcing you or he's divorcing you and they're done. Don't send her flowers. Don't send her candy. Don't send her any gifts. Don't ask her for any dates. That will make her feel pressured and even insulted. Like flowers could make up for all the terrible things you did. It's dumb. Don't do it. She does not want to be pursued. She wants you to go away and leave her alone. And that's exactly what you're going to have to do. Drop all methods of romantic pursuit immediately. She needs space more than anything else now. Give her the space. Don't say I love you. She'll find it annoying and insulting because she doesn't believe it. You can say it. Words are cheap. You're going to have to prove it over months. Don't ask her, do you love me? It's pathetic. And you don't want to hear the answer. It's going to be no. Don't ask her, will you forgive me? Too soon for that. She is far from forgiving you. She might say, well, I forgive you. She's still divorcing you. Don't ask that either. You haven't proven you're sorry for your behavior anyway. Don't beg or plead or cry in front of her. It always backfires. It makes you look, again, pathetic. No one comes back to a pathetic loser. Even if you are genuinely sorry, she doesn't care at this point. That's not going to help your cause. Don't ask her like many do, but how about all the good times that we had? That's not the point here. And it proves you don't get it. It's the bad times. That's why she's divorcing you, and there were plenty of those. Don't try to be affectionate. Don't touch her at all. Your skin will crawl, and it will backfire. Don't try to get her to talk about the marriage. Don't try to get her to talk about why she's divorcing you. That will just solidify her reasons. Don't try to get her to talk about her life, her job, current events, her family and friends, or anything else. Cut her off. Pull back. You'll be telling her, I can't even talk to you. I'm pulling back. I'm leaving home. I'm leaving our church. I want to see the kids. I'll support you financially. I'm working on me. That's all I can do now. She might not care, but you'll tell her that. Okay, if your spouse wants a divorce and it's your fault and you're willing to admit, I own this, my fault, yet I destroyed my marriage, I wrote it for you. You'll find nothing like it in the Christian market. I guarantee you that. It's specific, it is edgy, it's biblical, it will give you a chance. No guarantees, give you a chance to win her back, or her back, or him back. You'll find this book along with all my resources on marital crisis on my website, davideclarke.phd.com. That's Clarke with an E. You can also find out about my phone advice. I'm doing a lot of phone advice sessions these days. It's $200 for 45 minutes, okay? And it seems like a lot of money, but boy, when you're trying to save your marriage and you're in a crisis, your spouse has left you, you've destroyed your marriage, there's been an affair, there's adultery, there's some kind of a massive crisis, there's abuse, even one session with Dr. Clarke can make a difference. I'll get the background and I'll give you a plan of action moving forward that is biblical, that is effective, that is proven, that will give you the best chance to save your marriage and get you through the ongoing nightmare. So you'll find all about phone advice service on my website, David E. Clarke, Clarke with an E, davideclarkephd.com.